Yo, what is up guys, it's Ghost here, welcome back to the first Battlefield 6 Pro release video. And in this one we've got a bit of a news roundup. As you may have noticed yesterday, and you definitely will have if you were an EA app user, people could not access the game for up to 7 hours after the release, which was a major bummer. DICE have actually come forward, or EA have come forward I should say, and they are going to issue those users some rewards for free. We've also seen absolutely record-breaking numbers for a Battlefield game on Steam, so we're going to get into all of this in a second. As always, if you guys enjoy the content here on the channel, make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with everything Battlefield. There's going to be a lot of guides coming out on my channel over the next few weeks, so make sure you don't miss out on that. So I wish I could sit here and tell you guys that Battlefield 6's launch had been absolutely flawless this time around, and it almost was. For me as a Steam user, I was having a blast. I haven't encountered a single issue. There's been no weird netcode issues. There's been no lag, no server downtime, no big matchmaking issues at least. Unfortunately for everybody who's playing on the EA app, they could not access the game at all for 7 hours. Yes, you heard that correctly. So that's kind of really one of the biggest fumbles I think we've seen on a launch day for Battlefield ever. But I don't want to let that, disencourage you guys from playing the game or buying the game, because it is really, really good and I'm incredibly happy with it. But just to go over what some of these issues were and what DICE intend to do about it, first of all, they tweeted out this saying, "We are aware of an issue preventing players from accessing the game, with some receiving an error stating they need to purchase DLC or similar. Stay tuned for further updates as the team investigates this issue. Thank you for your patience." And this was around an hour after release, and this is what he's referring to here. These new options in the menus that basically allow you to install or uninstall various parts of the game, it was telling those users that they had yet to purchase all of them. And so they couldn't queue into multiplayer, they couldn't do anything. And so 7 hours later, after much troubleshooting, they then issued this statement here saying, "Installation of Battlefield 6 Content Pack Issue Update 2. The team is in the process of deploying a resolution for the issue that causes players on the EA app to be unable to start game modes due to missing DLC or content. Players will need to restart the game for this to take effect. We expect this to be completed within the next hour or so, and will update when it's done." And as far as I know, that has resolved the issue for everybody. Now, needless to say, nobody was happy about this, least of all Mr. Battlefield himself now, Vince Zampella. And this was obvious from a lot of his replies to people here on Twitter. So here we've got somebody saying, "Any news on this yet, man? This is unacceptable. Nearly 5 hours post-launch." And Vince says, "Can you refund and buy it on Steam?" So imagine that. The EA person here, who's heading up Battlefield, is actually encouraging people to refund the game on the EA platform and buy on Steam instead, giving Steam presumably upwards of maybe a 30% cut. He says, "I've yelled about EA app people. Any suggestion on next levels of escalation?" Here's somebody saying, "Fix the EA app, 3 hours already, we want to play the game." And he says, "I was just yelling the same thing. Everyone on EA app still can't even play the game, and it's been 3 hours. And Vince says, "Ridiculous. There is telling happening internally now." And then similarly here down below, he says, "Lots of people working on it. So sorry. Honestly embarrassing." And I guess it kind of is, right? I really feel for him and a lot of people who, for them, it's out of their control, because this is kind of a bit of a downer on the overall launch of Battlefield 6. But I would say outside of this, it's been absolutely fantastic. And there's really very few things that I have to nitpick about the game that I think could be improved, especially when it comes to the launch. Now, there is a bit of a silver lining, though, for any of you who were affected by this on the EA app. And DICE put out this statement here saying, "Today, we experienced an outage on the EA app that prevented some of our players who pre-ordered Battlefield 6 from accessing the game. And we know this can be frustrating, so we want to offer an apology with perks. The fix has been rolled out, but we aren't done. Anyone on the EA app who was impacted will receive 12 hardware and 12 career 60-minute boosters, which should be arriving in the impacted players' in-game inboxes this weekend." So that is basically 12 hours of double XP for you guys out there. In addition, we will also be granting impacted players full access to a seasonal battle pass. If impacted players purchase the Phantom Edition, we will be granting them access to Season 2's full battle pass. We want to apologize again for this outage. See you on the Battlefield Studios. So basically, if you bought the Phantom Edition, you will already have full access to Season 1, which is coming on October the 28th. So what they're saying here is, if that's the case for you, you will get full access to Season 2, whenever that releases. If you didn't buy the Phantom Edition and you just have the regular edition, you will instead then presumably get the full Battle Pass on Season 1 on the 28th. So that kind of sucks. I mean, it's nice that they've come out and done something for those players, hopefully to, repay a bit of their time, but I know people took time off work for this game, people probably skipped school for this game, etc., and then just to sit there for like 7 hours waiting for it to be resolved is just a massive kick in the teeth. I was streaming the game for 5 hours, and luckily for me, I bought it on Steam so I could play it, but I know a lot of people there were, really a bit down in the dumps about it, and, they didn't want to refund the game on the EA app and then buy it on Steam because they'd lose their pre-order bonuses. So I think maybe DICE should also look into that. Anybody who had to do that or was forced to do that, they should give them those pre-order cosmetics. But either way, good to hear that it's finally been resolved. Now, there are a couple of other issues that are going around at the moment as well, and the Battlefield Communications account have commented on this. One of them is missing rewards, and they say, we're looking into an issue that is preventing some players from receiving their in-game rewards from the Phantom Edition, the open beta rewards, as well as the Road to Battlefield 6 rewards. We will provide an update when the team has resolved the issue. So, if you've been checking through your cosmetics and whatnot and you don't have, like, the nice engineer skin from Battlefield 4 that you grinded your ass off for, this appears to just be a bug with the game and EA are working on it. Here's another one as well. Some people are seeing a game not released message on Steam, and DICE have a potential workaround in Steam. Open the game's properties, and then untick both the Battlefield Multiplayer HD marker and the Battlefield Multiplayer marker DLCs. Please let us know if this does not work for you, and we will continue to investigate the situation. So it seems like they have some weird authentication problems going on. This was, of course, like one of the things that didn't exist in the beta, right? There just was, the base multiplayer game. We didn't have these optional extras, let's call them, like the campaign or these HD packs, and it seems that the implementation of those things into the build was something that was sort of unforeseeable and that they couldn't really test for. And unfortunately, tested as they did for the beta, that seems to have been a bit of a downfall here, and it's got to be, again, quite embarrassing for everybody in charge. But good to hear that almost all of you guys, I think, are playing the game right now. And if you're not playing the game and you're having some of these issues, please comment below, and myself or somebody will try and help you out. Now, regardless of all of that, the game has been, I would say, a massive smash hit. So Battlefield Bulletin posted this here, and he says, despite some initial problems, Battlefield 6 has hit 747,440 concurrent players on Steam alone in just 1 hour and 40 minutes after release, becoming the 14th most played game so far on this platform. So that is the 14th most played game on Steam ever, which is insane. Obviously, it's quite a ways away, like the huge games, like, we've got PUBG at the top there, Black Myth Wukong, Palworld, etc., but some of those were, like, PC-only games, let's not forget. Battlefield 6 is on the EA app, I think it's on the Epic Games Store as well, and then it's on both of the consoles, so, you can just imagine how many people are playing this game. It's got to be in the millions. And then if we take a look over on Steam, it is sitting at a very positive rating of 82%. I think this is actually only going to go up because it was mixed earlier on, and that was due to the queues. There were some fairly hefty login queues, but I think that was just to ease people into the game so that the servers didn't get flooded too quickly and therefore overloaded, which I do think, even though it was annoying to wait a little bit, was the correct move from EA. Last time I checked, there weren't any queues, so it looks like they've ramped the servers up to full capacity, and really, I don't have any major gripe with the game that would cause me to give it a negative review. For me, I would say 82% is pretty much where I would put it. Right now, I would give the game around an 8 or an 8.5 out of 10, which is a great score, and I'm having a lot of fun. Now, that's not to say that the game doesn't have its issues, and the first one personally for me that I ran into, and you guys can probably tell from the background footage here because I had to save myself in order to record some footage by using OBS to record the stream, was that my regular recording software just will not play DICE with this game. It does not work. I don't know why. It's the only game it doesn't work with, so hopefully a fix is going to come out for that in the future. I have since got a bit of a workaround, so I will just be providing you guys with like regular gameplay. You're not going to be seeing me on screen on the camera and the chat and everything, so apologies for that in advance. If we're talking about things I think could be improved in the game, the matchmaking search at the moment isn't working for me. I don't know how many of you guys have tried it, but if I select a map and a specific mode, it doesn't even try to matchmake me into that map because it just finds me a game within 2 seconds, but it's always the wrong map. So it's not like it can't find a game in that map. It's as though it's not even trying to. I will select, for example, Manhattan Bridge because that's one of the maps I've never played before, and then it puts me into Mirak Valley. So I think DICE still need to go back to the drawing board a little bit or look into why the matchmaking search isn't working or isn't even really trying to matchmake you into what you ask for. I was also pretty bummed out to find that there are no jet loadouts in the game. Like, you can't change any of the weapons for the jets, and it's not because we haven't unlocked them yet. There just aren't any that exist. And given the fact that the bombing gameplay is really like the biggest part of the jet gameplay, I feel like they could have at least given us a few different options for bombs, maybe some different sizes of bombs, you know, smaller like cluster bombs, and then medium-sized bombs, or maybe one really big bomb that you can only drop a single one of, like there was incendiary bombs and stuff in Battlefield 2042, so why we haven't got that yet, maybe they're saving it for future seasons. It does feel a little bit on the content side like everything is quite grindy in this game. You just kind of get one of everything. You get one weapon for every class category. You get one gadget unlocked for every class. And it takes like quite a while to unlock everything in this game. So if you really want to get to the next assault rifle, it is going to be quite a grind. And I feel like they've maybe gated things a little bit too much and kind of held some content back for the future DLCs so that they can keep up with that release cadence that we've all been asking for, but maybe it's come a little bit at the expense of what we get in the base game. Again, maybe I'm just guessing here, I don't have any proof of that, but that's just what it feels like to me. There's also no training grounds against AI. Like, I know this is a massively missed opportunity here. Lots of people want to jump in against AI for whatever reason, whether it be practicing playing vehicles, whether it be leveling up weapons, or maybe unlocking assignments, that sort of stuff, or just getting to grips with the game. I feel like they could have easily put a playlist in there, given the fact that AI already exists in the game. And then I think the only other thing I've really got a problem with is the UI in general. The UI, it has to be said, it's really bad. Like, the way that you navigate all of the menus and you find the playlist that you want, especially on PC. It's probably better on console because you can just sort of scroll up and down, left and right on the left thumbstick there. But for PC, having to go to the right and click those arrows to scroll across, not being able to scroll with your mouse wheel, I just will never understand how somebody passed off on this UI. It is amateurish at best. I already commented on this in the beta, like, why is it not changed since then? I do not understand it. Again, let me know down in the comments if you think I'm nitpicking, and for sure, this is not the biggest deal breaker in the game, right? Like I said, I'm really enjoying the game, and the core gameplay is fantastic, and that's what matters the most. But I feel like some of these other things kind of just drag down the experience a little bit. And the same can be said for the options. There are lots of options, menus within menus. It's not very intuitive. It is hard to find. And I will be putting out a guide today on all of the important options, the best graphical settings, to give you guys the best gameplay experience, the best performance, and hopefully the best Battlefield experience. So, with that said, I'm going to wrap this one up here for today. Those are just some quick first impressions, some of the issues that have been going on there with the game that have hopefully now been resolved. I would love to hear from all of you what you think. What has your experience been of day one of playing Battlefield 6? Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video or found it informative, and subscribe to stay up to date with everything Battlefield 6. I will be bringing you guys plenty of news as well as tutorials. And don't forget to follow on Twitch. I'll be streaming the game a good while over the weekend. Drops will be active over there for anybody wanting to claim those new cosmetics. As always, thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.